Woody Wommack here with Josh Helmholdt, our Midwest recruiting analyst. That's still your title, right, Josh?
Yeah, I got the Midwest, but I got all of Canada, and I'd like to incorporate Canada somewhere into my title.
All right, well, we'll work on that. I'll talk to HR about that, see what we can do. So, guess what? You cover the state of Michigan. You live in Michigan. Huge news today as Mark Dantonio resigns, steps down, retires. This caught us by surprise. How about you?
Well, if you'd told me it would have happened this offseason, that wouldn't have surprised me. The timing is surprising. Now, it does come after there was a deposition. There's a legal case against Mark Dantonio. His former recruiting director has filed against him, unlawful termination charges. So that happened earlier today, and that seems to be the spark that set off the news of Mark Dantonio resigning. Very interesting. It comes the day before the late signing period, and most notably for me, and we were just talking about this on our my podcast here recently, is Dantonio is one of the biggest, strongest made the strongest comments coming in the early signing period that his kids had to sign his commits. If they were committed, they had to sign in the early period. And we brought this up another number of times. The early period is not an option for many recruits. If you want to wait till February, you don't have that option. Mark Dantonio, along with his former assistant Pat Narduzzi, were two of the most vocal, in terms of strong arming their commits to sign in the early period and not let them sign in the late period. Interesting, ironic that he then becomes a coach that decides to step down between the early and late period where those kids that signed with him about 7 weeks ago would actually have an opportunity to reassess their situation before signing tomorrow, had they not been strong-armed in signing in the early period.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. We're gonna have to see if they want to try to get out. But where do you think Michigan State turns now? We've heard Luke Fickell. You mentioned Narduzzi. Possibly he could maybe be a candidate. Where do you see this going? Just kind of riffing, obviously, as we just found out the news.
Yeah, Fickell and Narduzzi, those two are have been brought up recently. It'll be interesting to see. Harlan Barnett's a name that's been a long time assistant coach who may get an opportunity here. He's strong connections, been on that Michigan State staff for a long time. You have Bobby Williams, was a former, there's so many different ways that Michigan State could go. I do think they'll have good options. The timing is what makes it interesting. And they haven't really developed within the staff. That staff has been together for a long time. In fact, I think one of the catalysts for this move was Mark Dantonio. A lot of people felt he should have made some changes after the 2018 season. He didn't. He decided to just shuffle the current group of coaches he had around, and the result was the same, another 7-6 season. So I don't think they will. I don't think they have any options on staff. I think when they look nationally, though, there'll be some pretty interesting names out there available to them.
All right, Josh. Well, we really appreciate it. We're going to be following this closely. It's going to have major recruiting repercussions, probably across the whole region, especially in the class of 2021. Stay locked into Rivals. We have continuing signing day coverage all week long.